Hi, I'm Kate Warren, Director of Global Recruitment Services at DevX, and welcome to my weekly Career Matters video blog. This week, I wanted to discuss a recent question posted to our DevX LinkedIn group page that might affect some of you. Sue, one of our members, wrote, "What if you're currently interviewing for jobs in consulting firms and they want to put you on a bid where you have to sign a letter of exclusivity? What if I find a job in the meantime? I don't want to sign my life away and I want to have integrity, yet I also want a plan B in case these interviews don't pan out. The consultancy would pay well and last about a year, but do I sign my life away on a maybe?" So this is a fantastic question and one that a lot of people working in international development have to grapple with. And I myself used to do proposal recruitment for a couple of USAID implementers, so I thought I would lend my perspective on how to handle this. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the whole bidding process within international development, let me just give you a basic primer. Donors like USAID or EU will release an RFP or an RFA, depending on what's a contract or a grant. In addition to having to include a technical proposal and cost proposal, the bidders will also include all of the personnel that would work on the project. Oftentimes, these have very specific technical, language, country experience, so it's not practical for a firm or organization to already have all this expertise on staff. It's sometimes hard to predict what those needs might be and whether or not they will win a project. So they start actually recruiting at the proposal stage. Once an RFP or an RFA is released, then they know what kind of expertise is needed. And then if they were to win the project, you would be hired and put on it. A way to be able to identify these positions posted on DevX is if you see them described as an anticipated or forthcoming project. That can be a little clue that it's not an actual live position now, but rather at the proposal stage, and they might want to include you in that proposal in hopes that they will win the funding and then be able to put you on it once they do win. So why the need for letters of exclusivity? So typically there are many organizations or firms bidding on the same project, and part of their competitive advantage is the personnel that they include. Oftentimes 25% in an award is determined based on the personnel. And so having the right kind of experts can really be the boost an organization might need in order to win funding. So it's very crucial to their bottom line. And so to demonstrate to the donor that the personnel that they are including are in fact real and available and not just a name or CV they're throwing on for purposes of winning the funding, they like to include these letters. Sometimes the donors will actually explicitly require these letters in the RFP. Sometimes an organization just includes them to be that additional boost to show that their personnel really is available for the project should they win. Sometimes organizations can put CVs or people on a proposal that they don't intend to ever fully staff, but most organizations are really looking to try to find someone that will not only win the project, but actually be able to implement the project should they win. Another reason is that sometimes throughout the proposal stage, a firm or organization might share some competitive information, intelligence such as their technical approach, details about their cost proposal to the personnel that they are proposing. And so they want to make sure that you aren't going to jump ship and go work with another firm and share that information that could put them at a disadvantage. So they have you sign these letters as a way to kind of help preserve that relationship. Furthermore, if a firm includes you in a proposal and then wins, and then you are not available, it does open them up to either being contested by some of the competitors. So a competitor could contest the award based on the fact that their key personnel is no longer available, or the donor could even decide themselves to revoke the award based on that. So these are all reasons why an organization or firm might ask you to sign this. So what to do when asked to sign a letter? First of all, realize that recruiters understand that life changes and it's hard to predict your availability a few months or even sometimes a year from now, and that these proposals are a big if. They're definitely not a guarantee to employment, and that you need to stay employed. You still need to have food on the table. So, understand that they understand the predicament that you're in, and they're just trying to comply with the donor rules. What they're really looking for is just a good faith statement that you will do your best to be available should they win the project. And so they're not looking for you to be signing your life away, and these letters are not legally binding. So in the very rare scenario an organization might ever pursue legal action against someone who revoked on their word, they probably wouldn't hold up in court. So it's more just really a good faith statement that you're signing when you sign one of these letters. But if you really are uncomfortable with them, some tips for negotiating this is, know whether the letter of commitment or exclusivity, sometimes they are all in one or one or the other, is a strict requirement of the RFA or RFP. So sometimes it really is written in which case the bidding organization's hands will be tied, and you refusing to sign this, they likely won't include you on the bid, and likely no other firm would either, because it put them at a disadvantage. And it really will sour your relationship with this organization that you might hope to work with, if not now, in the future. But if it is not required, if you don't see it stated anywhere in the RFP, and it's just something that they're looking to add, you might have some more negotiating room on whether or not to sign this or how it's worded. You can look at the solicitation. These are usually publicly available documents to read for yourself whether or not it's a requirement. Sometimes an employer will provide a templated letter for you to sign, and so the language might already be spelled out there and could be very limiting in it's the terminology that they use. So they might say, you commit to being available. See if you have some wiggle room in that language to just be less severe. So maybe you can say you intend to be available. So it kind of gives you some wiggle room in how it's worded. Another thing is to make sure that it's just stating exclusivity for that specific proposal or project. You really don't want to sign something saying that you promise to not be on any other bid or in any other project, because really that is going to be hard for you to comply and still stay employed. But then finally, I would just say be really open and honest with the recruiter. Don't see them as an enemy, but really as someone who's trying to work with you, and you both really have the same goals of winning the project so that you can work on it. And so be open and honest with them about whether or not you really think you'll be available. And throughout if they do put you on a bid, and while you're waiting to hear back, if you do get employment offers, just be open with them and let them know what your situation is, so they can keep you updated on the bidding process and maybe start to recruit backups if they think that you won't be available in case they were to win the award. So just think about it as again, mutually beneficial relationship that you're forging with them, and to be open and honest with the recruiter, and hopefully they will do the same for you. Several recruiters that I've spoken to recently that work on USA proposals have noticed them backing away from including this requirement, and even in some scenarios explicitly stating that they will not accept or do not want to see these letters of exclusivity. So I think this is a good sign that the donors are realizing the kind of undue burden this puts on the employers and the consultants that they put on these bids. So I'm hoping that it's a change of tides coming, and that you might see some changes in whether or not these are requirements in the future. Again, this is a tricky issue, so if any of you have tips or pointers on how to tackle it, or suggestions on other processes for staffing proposals, for example, should there even be key personnel proposal, or should they wait until they award a project to staff them? Please leave your comments below. If you have any questions about your international development career, please tweet me at DevEx Careers. Thank you.